What's up, Genesis friends? I'm here with the 2026 Genesis GV80 2.5 Prestige. Today we're going to be doing a full tutorial on this. We're going to do a quick walk around and introduction, so let's get into it. Alright, so on the 2.5 Prestige, you are getting the top of the line trim on the lower engine, but you're still getting 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. Does pretty well for the 2.5 turbo. With the Prestige, you get those 22-inch wheels, head-up display, electronic suspension, heated rear seats. This is with the Prestige, you also get 3 rows of seating. This one that we're looking at is Alta White in color. Funny thing about that is it's named after the ski resort that is right up those mountains. So that's kind of fun. So Alta White is basically like a mid-matte. It doesn't have all the sparkle to it. And we've got a black interior on this. Let's go ahead and just open this up. I just want to show you what that's going to look like. Hopefully there's not too much glare for you. And the second row is manual now. That gives you quick access to the third row. So just so you know, some people complain about it, but if you're trying to access the third row, you're going to want, just a quick response to get back there. All right, let's teach you how to work this thing. We're going to go over most of the setup on this. We're not going to dive into every single detail, but I will teach you pretty much everything you need to know on this thing. We're going to start with your key fob. We're going to come down here. So we've got our standard buttons, your lock, unlock, your lift gate, panic. But with remote smart parking, you can remote start the car from the key fob with this hold button, and then we can make it roll forward and backward to get out of tight parking spots with those. So the process is you always have to hit lock first. So we go one push right here, flip it over, hold this down. Now once it's remote started, I'm just going to roll the car forward by holding down the forward button here. And we'll go back a little bit. There you go. So that will run 10 minutes. If you don't get in the car by 10 minutes, that will just shut off. All the sensors will be active while you're doing that as well. So if anybody gets in the way, then the car will slam on its brakes. Walking up to the car, you never even have to touch your key fob. You'll basically just have it on you. You'll put your hand in the handle. That will unlock the car. And then when you get out, you just press this little button right here. That will lock it up. Unfortunately, there's no auto lock feature on these at all. Come over here, gas, just push right there to open it. They recommend premium fuel on these. And then your lift gate button is right here. They started to include the sticker because people couldn't find the lift gate button, so you can just take that sticker off. Come over here, you got all your window controls. This is child door locks and windows, so if that light is on, everybody's locked in the back seats. You can fold in your side mirrors with this button here. And then you get your memory right here. So once you get everything how you want it, you're gonna go set 1 for a first driver and set 2 for a second driver. Coming over here, we got our parking brake, lift gate. This is illumination brightness for all your screens. So if you want everything brighter or dimmer, you've got those controls. This is a downhill braking control button. If you needed the car to slowly roll you down a hill, you just press this button, and we're talking maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. Press that button, you take your foot off the brake, and the car will just keep you under control and slowly roll you down a hill. That turns off traction control. Coming down to your seat controls. If you want a little bit more leg support, you've got this little one here that will extend the front. And then you forward and backward, up and down. With this one, this is your massage seat right here. So first push will just do the bottom. Second push will just do the back. Third push will do the whole seat. And then the fourth push will turn it off. And the screen will let you know up there what's going on. This tilts the back of the seat. You've got your 4-way lumbar support here, so you can dial in where you want the support on your back. And then these bolsters here, if you want those to squeeze you and give you a little hug, you pull this lever up like that, and those will tighten in on the sides for more of a sportier feel. I always like to set headlights to auto, so you just give this a twist until the little arrow is lined up with auto right there. And then you adjust your steering wheel with this button here. All right, let's go ahead and hop in. I'm going to start this up. The first thing you want to do when you get your car and you're setting it all up is get your profile squared away. So you'll notice this driver selection, which profile comes up, and we want to make sure that we're in driver 1. So you'll get this pop up until you connect your connected services. So we're just going to say later on that. I'm going to twist my dial over here to go back to our home screen. If you ever need to change to your driver profiles, this little icon up here is the quickest way to do that. You push there, we're going to go change user, and we want driver 1. Some things are going to move around here. Okay, once again, we're going to do that later. All right, so to set up your profile, what we're going to do, we're going to go start. You're just going to type in your name right here. You go change name. Type in whatever you're looking for or whatever you want for your name. Then next. You're going to put in your password right here. It's going to be a 4-digit passcode. You'll put that in twice. And then we're going to do your fingerprint reader. So you select fingerprint identification. It's going to ask you for your passcode. Sorry, let me go back to where we were. Pushing too many things here. So you'd put in your password, that 4-digit PIN, and then basically what it's going to do, you're going to hit set and consent. This is your fingerprint reader right here. So you can use whatever finger you want, but you're basically just going to move it around up and down, and you're going to watch the screen until it goes to 100% up here, and that will lock it in. Speaking of lock, what you want to make sure you turn off is once you do your fingerprint on the profile lock, say do not use, that would require your fingerprint to unlock the screen every single time you start the car. So if you don't want to be annoyed, make sure you turn off the profile lock there. And then that will do it for setting up your profile. And the next thing you want to do is get everything squared away, like your memory and stuff. So you're going to move your seat around, and then you're going to do your side mirrors. So you'll use these buttons here to move your mirrors left and right. You'll want to adjust your steering wheel, and even your head-up display can be locked in your memory as well. So you want to make sure you get your head-up display how you want it. Once that's all dialed in, then over on our doors here, you're just going to go set 1 to program that to a driver 1. You can go set 2 for a second driver within the same profile. Next thing you want to do is connect your phone to the Bluetooth. So you want to ask yourself if you're going to be using CarPlay or Android Auto at this point. I'm going to just use a general term called phone projection in this video, and that sums up, that describes both CarPlay and Android Auto. So you want to ask yourself if you're going to be using phone projection, and I'll explain why. So you'll go into your phone, the settings on your phone, and you'll go into the Bluetooth menu. And then here in the car, you're going to press Setup, and then Device Connections, and then you'll just hit Add here. Once you hit Add, then on your phone, you're going to see GV80 at the very bottom of your Bluetooth list, and then you'll just tap Pair and Allow, and then Connect on your CarPlay or Android Auto. So pretty easy on that one. Okay, next thing we want to do is, I always like to ask myself, or the customers, what are you going to be listening to while you drive around? Like things from your phone or the radio, FM, AM, satellite radio, or whatever. Because what we're going to do is you can program this button right here to cycle through all of your audio sources that you're going to be using. So you're going to hold this in, and it's going to bring up this menu here of everything that you want to include. So I want phone projection, AM, maybe satellite radio, so you just check those boxes, anything that you want included in that button. Then I just press this home button right here to go back to our main screen. We're going to tap radio, and I'm just going to give that some time to kind of find some stations. Okay, let's say, here, let's go. I'll just put it on a station here. Okay, I pressed radio to bring up the radio. I was twisting this knob here to find a radio station. You'll probably want to hit this HT radio button to turn that on to just give you more information about what you're listening to. But if there is a station that you like and you want to save it as a preset, you just hit the star right here, and then that will save it down here. All of your presets are going to line up down the bottom of the screen when you're saving those. So you just tune the radio station, find what you like, and hit the star. If you want to include satellite radio stations in there, you can do that as well. You could just go to satellite radio and then find the station you want, and then just hit your star, and it will just add it right to the same list. It's pretty nice. You don't need to go over to satellite radio and then have a separate list for presets, so it'll just include everything on one giant list. Okay, we're going to come back over to the right side of our steering wheel here. You got your volume up and down here with this roller wheel, and then you can click it straight in to just mute your music. Just push that straight in. And then, like I said, this will bounce back and forth between everything that we included. So if you wanted to listen to music from your phone, you know, if that was paired, then that would bring up your phone for like Apple Music or Spotify or Pandora or whatever. If somebody calls you, you're going to answer with this button here, and you're going to hang up with the exact same button. This little optical mouse right here is actually how you scroll through your radio stations, your presets that you've saved. So you'll notice as I swipe my finger across here, that's how I'm bumping back and forth between my stations. Now let's say you're listening to music from your phone like Pandora or Spotify. If you want to skip to the next song, that's what you do. I always like to program this star to be a shortcut to phone projection. So this is just kind of a personal preference thing, but if you push it, it brings up this menu of what you can program this to. I like to just select phone projection, but like I said, you know, you can pick any one of those if that's what you want to do. But the nice thing about that now is the star will always just be a shortcut to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So you've got that. And then this button right here, once again, if you're using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you can always just say, you know, your voice command to activate it, like, you know, Google or Siri. But if you don't have that set up on your phone, you can do a long press of this button to access Siri or, you know, your Google Assistant. So you just hold that down and then they'll pop up. We're going to come over to the left side of the wheel here. This turns on cruise control. It's always just a quick press of the button, and never hold it down. You just give it a quick press, and then you adjust your speed up and down with this toggle like that. Now, not only does this bump up and down, but it clicks straight in like that, which is a pause and resume for cruise control. So let's say you've got 75 miles an hour programmed in, and you want to just temporarily pause cruise without canceling your 75. You can just give that a click and then resume it. Or if you hit your brakes, that would also pause it, and then you can resume your speed by clicking that in. This is your adaptive cruise control. This will adjust the distance between you and the car in front of you. The adaptive cruise is always on. It's always part of cruise control. Basically, you just dial in what distance you want, distance 1 through 4, with this button. It basically will if you're going faster than the car in front of you in cruise control, this will sense that, and then the car will automatically slow down to maintain that distance. This little toggle right here will just bump around different looks up in your cluster in front of you. Give you navigation there in the middle, take it over to the side. But this is the one I recommend. It's a cool little safety one where if there's a car in your blind spot, red beams are going to show up on the side there. But another fun thing that you can do though is not only does that bump up and down, but you can click this straight in for an analog gauge. Let me go through this little tutorial real quick here. There's your analog gauges. You can just click this in to go back to it. So something that I skipped over that I want to make sure I cover is this square up here is called your widget, and this is where you can see all the information on your car, like your tire pressure. You can have your music up there. You can reset your trip for your gas mileage and everything. How you access that is you give it one push, and then you'll notice these dots that showed up on the bottom and the side, and that means I can swipe side to side and up and down to go through all my options. So if you've got dots over there on the side, that means you've got room to work with vertically, and if they're on the bottom, you can go side to side. Wow, that was a busy weekend. From that phone call I got, 4 days have passed. I've got a beard now. It was a busy weekend. So let's finish this video up. The last thing we were talking about is our widget up here in the screen. So this optical mouse button controls that. So you give this one push, and then you swipe side to side and up and down to go through all these different options here. So this is where you can reset your trip. You can find your tire pressure, things like that. It'll always give you instructions down here telling you what to do. It says OK ×2 to reset. So if you wanted to reset that, you would just give it 2 little clicks. So it would go 1, 2, everything goes to 0. I'm just gonna leave it with our music, and then you can either just let it go or push it to lock it in. If you want to get rid of it, you hold it in and it'll go away. We're gonna come over to the left side of the steering wheel. This turns on cruise control, single push, like that. And the cool thing about our cars is it turns on cruise and it'll set you at the speed with one push. So you don't have to push another set button. And then you just adjust your speed up and down, bumping this up and down. This also clicks straight in, like that. And that's a pause and resume for cruise control. So if you're going 75 miles an hour and you have to hit your brakes for whatever reason, you can just resume your 75 by giving that a click. Or if you just want to just temporarily pause cruise control, you just click that in and resume it. Very cool. This is your adaptive cruise control that will adjust the distance between you and the car in front of you. So adaptive cruise will always be on with cruise control. It's all about you just deciding if you want to be at distance 1 through 4. So once you go into cruise control, up here you're going to notice there's going to be little pictures of 2 cars with dots between them, and those dots represent distance 1 through 4, 1 through 4 dots. And as you push this button, those dots will go away, meaning you're getting closer to the car in front of you. So it'll go distance 4, 3, 2, 1, and then if you hit it again, it goes back up to distance 4. This one right here, this is your lane follow assist and lane keep assist. So you'll notice if you're on the freeway and you go into cruise control, your lane follow assist should turn on automatically. And what that looks like, I'm going to give this a single press, and we'll see this little steering wheel that pops up right here. That steering wheel, when that's green is when you know lane follow assist is active. Lane follow assist is what steers for you and keeps you centered in your lane. So yeah, it will just proactively steer and keep you centered in your lane. You always have the freedom to, if you don't like it, you just give that a push. And then another thing about that is while it's doing its thing, you have to keep your hand just gently on the wheel, and then it'll do the rest of the work. Now you'll notice this other icon up here. This is called lane keep assist, and this is the one that's more reactive. It's waiting for you to drift over line, and then it's going to yank you back into your lane. So that is turned on and off with a long press and hold of the same button. You just keep holding that in. There you go. This toggle right here just gives you different looks for your cluster. So you can just kind of bump this up and down. This is kind of the one I recommend, the car there, and because if there's a car in your blind spot, little red beams are going to show up on the side. It's a nice little safety feature there. But the other cool thing that you can do is you can click this straight in and it's going to go into an analog gauge mode. So this is a cool thing that you, like a lot of Genesis commercials are starting to kind of highlight this now, because when you go into, like, you know, different drive modes, these will change. So personal preference there, you can click it straight in, or you can bump this up and down just to go into different options for your cluster. This dot is another customizable shortcut button, kind of like our star there. So by pushing it, it'd bring up our menu here, letting you know those are all the options that you could program this to. I personally don't find anything extremely valuable with it, but a lot of people do, so see what works for you on that. You got your wipers right here. There's an auto mode. Just bump this up one. That will tell you it's an auto. Those are rain sensing. Those will just kick on automatically. And then your rear wiper, you would just twist this away from you. You'd go up to the top. That turns on your rear wiper. Air conditioning's easy. You just dial in your temperature with these dials here. You've got a little fan and a big fan to control your fan speed. And then you can hit these little waves to decide where you want the airflow to go or not to go. Like that. You got your heated seats, ventilated seats, and then heated steering wheel right here. If your GV80 did come with scent diffusers, sorry, I'm just trying not to get the reflection in there. If your GV80 came with scent diffusers, then this would be the button that would turn on the fragrances to get them cranking through your air conditioning. And then you've got your front defrost and rear defrost right there. We're going to come down here. So this is your drive mode selector. You can dial in the performance of your car by twisting this around. And as you twist this, you're going to look up here to see what's going on. So eco mode is going to be just kind of wimpy mode. This will give you better gas mileage and less power out of the car. You got comfort mode. That is your all-around day-to-day balanced drive mode. And then when you are feeling like having a little fun, you've got your sport mode here, and everything is going to tighten up, and the car is going to give you everything it's got. The My mode is a customizable drive mode where you can kind of Frankenstein your own thing. You can take bits and pieces of each drive mode and make your own. But we're just going to put that back in comfort. Now, if you don't want your engine shutting off at red lights and stop signs, you've got your idle stop and go button right here. So if you push this, the light comes on, meaning the engine will always stay on. So that's the way to remember it. Light on, engine on. And then you've got your parking view camera right here if you want to look around and get all your different angles on the car. This is going to be all your front angles here. This is going to be all your rear angles there. And then this is your cool surround view monitor. It's like a 360 degree camera. It allows you to look around your car. Very useful for saving your wheels if you don't want to, accidentally hit a curb and mess up your wheels. Then this is very useful for protecting your wheels. Turn that off, and then just leave that light on. Those are your parking sensors. So with this, you now get terrain mode. So if you want to go into snow mode, you basically just push this straight down, accessing terrain mode, and then give it a twist, and that will put it into your snow mode there. I'm not sure if you're going to be using mud or sand. Here in Utah, snow mode is very important. That's going to transfer more power to your front wheels, so you're getting a 50-50 power distribution, and it's going to manage your torque better as well too, so you're not getting too much power in the snow. I'll just go ahead and push that again to turn it off. And then auto hold. Auto hold is like a parking brake while you're in drive, so it allows you to be excuse me. It allows you to be in drive, come to a complete stop, and then the car will just hold you in place, and you can take your foot off the brake, and it won't roll forward. And then you just hit the gas again to get going. So what that looks like, I'll just show you. You push the button, that puts it in standby. It's kind of hard to see, but it'll say auto hold down here in white. So if your foot's on the brake and you put the car in drive, that turns green, letting you know that it's holding you in place. And now I can just take my foot off the brake, which I just did, and it's just gonna hold me in place without rolling forward. So I use this every single time I go through the drive-through. Any kind of situation where you don't want to, keep holding in the brake, but you also don't want to keep, putting the car in park. That'll be useful for you. All right, we're gonna come up here. So I always turn this light on. That means all the interior lights will come on if the door opens. And then you've got lights right here and here and here. Sunglass holder here, sunroof. And with your sunroof, it's all about the soft bumps and hard bumps. So if you just want your shade open, you would just give it a soft bump like that. And they'll just do the shade and not the glass. And then you could always just, give it another bump back. Or from the first motion, you could just give it a hard bump. If you want to just crack your glass open a little bit, you can push this straight into the roof. And that'll just give you a little ventilation there. These two buttons call Genesis. So if you need roadside assistance, you press this button right here. It'll call them right through the car. This one's emergencies only. It's going to call their dispatch line, and the cops are going to show up if you push that. You've got your home link system right here. So those can be programmed to a garage door. All right, we're going to do a little fine tuning real quick. So if you want to get your sound all dialed in, you're going to press your setup button, sound, and then Bang & Olufsen, they don't use a treble, mid, and bass. They use this little Biosonic thing right here. And you're just going to drag this marker around to what sounds good for you. Me personally, I found that down here in the bottom right is a really good option. I think that sounds pretty good. And then you can go to position here. You can, if you want to favor the back seats a little bit or the front, you can move that around. And premium sound, the surround sound option will just give you more of a surround effect with your music, so you might want to turn that up a little bit as well. The next fun thing we can do is your ambient lighting. So this will be all the ambient lighting that's like in the cup holders here. It's going to line up, go around the seats and everything. So to change your ambient lighting, you're going to start with your setup button. And then I'm just going to use this dial here. We're going to select vehicle. We're going to twist down to the second page to lights. I'm going to select that. You're going to go ambient lighting, go down one to color, and then you've got a couple pages to work with here, so you're just going to find what you like. These purples and blues are really popular. You could also do any color you want. You could go to set custom color and then just twist this around. You're going to look here in the middle to see what that's going to look like, and that will give you an option of doing any color you want. Looks really cool at night. You could also bump this around left and right. You could go to brightness and adjust your brightness right there as well. So you'd select that and then twist. Well, cool. Yeah, I mean, that takes care of most things. I always like to just point out that in your glove box, you've got a quick reference guide that is a consolidated owner's manual that is going to sum up everything that we just talked about. And then also on the back is your maintenance schedule. So plan on about every 8,000 miles for service on this. That's at least what they recommend on there. You might want to do your first one a little bit sooner, around like 600 to 7,500. Kind of depends like what state you're in as well. But feel free to reach out to me with any questions, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. We will talk to you later. See ya.